Welcome to another episode of Morning Tea. I'm so sorry this video is up midweek and or it might be even up Thursday. Today's Wednesday morning. I hope it's up tonight. I was in Migraine City all day Tuesday. I was really sick on Tuesday and Monday was a holiday, so I couldn't film because everyone in the world was home. So today's tea is chai tea. I found one last singular bag of chai tea and I was like, I really want it with my cinnamon swirl bread. Delicious. I've got a lot of information to talk to you guys about today. I'm going to try to make it quick. First, I want to do our African American history tidbit. So this week, I want to talk about women's suffrage. So as we all know, or maybe not know, in 1920, women finally were given the right to vote. And there was this whole movement by white women called the women's suffrage movement, where white women of certain social standing and class fought real hard to be able to vote, but they didn't fight for all women to be able to vote because, you know, they didn't care about all women. They didn't fight for the poor, and they didn't fight for the colored. You had women of color who fought to be a part of the women's suffrage, but there was definitely a marginalizing of African American women. And as you may or may not saw in the movie Selma, there were a lot of rules and restraints put on Black people even when they got the right to vote. Because first men got the right to vote and you had to be a landowner, right? And then women got the right to vote, but you had to be a woman of certain standing. And then finally we tried to merge it both, and both women and men got the right to vote. But in the South, it was really hard. They had to go through tests or pay taxes on voting, and they had to wait in line for a very, very long time. You have women like Harriet Tubman, Ida B. Wells. You had Sojourner Truth. You had women like Rosa Parks, who throughout different times in history have really fought to allow Black American women the right to vote. Anyway, there was a woman by the name of Annie. Where are you at, Annie? Annie Simmons. There was a woman by the name of Annie Simmons Banks, who actually in 1920 was a Republican delegate. So Annie Simmons Banks was chosen to serve as a delegate to Kentucky's Republican Party March of 1920. Because of white people's fears about them wielding political power, African American women found themselves targeted by a number of disenfranchisement methods. Initially, when they got the right to vote, a lot of Black women went to the polls, and white people saw that and they were like, oh no, we don't want them to have any political power, so let's stop them from voting. So I think initially in the beginning there might have been some Black people who were able to vote, specifically Black women who were able to vote, and then they voted in such large numbers that white people decided that they didn't want them to have as much political power, so they should use crazy methods to get them to not vote. And it worked. Since Obama became president, I think that was a time when Black voter registration and the Black vote basically doubled in this country, and then there have been tactics since then, if you follow the news, to stop African American voters from being able to vote. For instance, if you don't have an ID, you can't vote. There's like a demographic of Black women and Black people who do not have an ID. Like, they don't have a license, they don't drive, and they didn't have a need for an ID. There's a lot of these tactics that are still going on today just for the right to vote, because it's very powerful. So if you are somebody who is a young person or an older person and you have not voted or don't vote, you should really get on that, because people are trying to stop us from being able to vote. So that means that the right to vote is something that's very powerful. As we all saw in this last election when we didn't go out to vote for our Congress, and now it's all Republican because we didn't show up at the polls to give the president the power and the support that he needs. So speaking of the president and support that he needs, so you know how Obama did this immigration law where he was going to give 5 million undocumented immigrants rights and giving them ability to register, not necessarily to vote, but to allow them to pay to be legal in a certain format, allow them to not be kicked out if they have kids here, just giving them like basic rights. It wasn't giving them full citizenship, but it was allowing them to be registered and be recognized as people in this country, and have some sort of papers. And Texas, Arizona, those states that are affected by Mexico were real upset about it. I personally see him as doing something that's good for people who have been in this country working hard for years, giving them something to hold on to and to grasp onto, to have some sort of American pride. Disenfranchising. You want to feel something towards your country. You want to feel that, especially if you came here for better opportunity. You need to feel that. Who are already in their state, running their restaurants and mowing their lawns and cleaning their houses, cleaning their corporate buildings, like from a state where basically if we didn't have Mexican immigrants, then we wouldn't be running. This state wouldn't run. like so what? Figure it out, Texas. You're fine. We're all fine. Texas isn't gonna go belly up. Like, it's just ridiculous. So the next thing that's happening is Amber Rose, obviously, as you guys already heard, Amber Rose and Khloe Kardashian got into some little Twitter fight. There's rumors that Tyga, who is 25 years old, now he is dating Kylie Jenner, who is Khloe Kardashian's younger sister, who is 17 years old. Amber Rose made a comment about it on a radio station in New York City and was like, you know, she's a baby, she has to go to bed at 7 p.m., like, it's gross. The thing is, though, like, it's statutory rape. She's 17 years old and he's 25 years old. Like, so no matter what, I don't understand what Khloe is talking about. Oh, and P.S., Amber Rose is my black woman crush. I know what you guys are going to say. I know, I hear it, but Amber Rose has the most amazing body and she's super pretty, and regardless of whatever her sexual proclivities are, I think she's beautiful and I would like to be her friend. But yeah, anyway, so she was basically just commenting and saying that Tyga's gross for that. And he is gross. Like, you know, no one is talking ish about your family, girl. Like, chill. Amber wasn't talking ish about your family. She was mainly talking ish about the dude who's trying to get with your sister, allegedly. Chill out. Let's talk about the Ukraine first. You guys know that Ukraine is there's a situation between Ukraine and Russia. Do you guys know about that? Do you guys know that in 2004, Ukraine had a civil war and they put in a government, and that government was corrupt and effed the country up to the point where so many Ukrainian people were going to Russia to work because Ukraine and Russia are bordering. But like, Ukraine is like this big and Russia is like this big. In 2014, there was basically a coup, but like not really. It was another civil war that happened earlier part of 2014 in February, I think. Ukrainian people fought against the government and was like, you're corrupt and you're terrible and we don't have an economy here because of you, like, get out of here. And they were backed up by the US and like a couple other countries. And so they were able to win, and that president, I can't pronounce his name, went running off to Russia, who he'd been in bed with forever, went running off to Russia, and they set up an interim government. Now, during that time, in 2014, when that interim government was there, Russia didn't accept that government as a valid government. So they decided to run into Crimea, which is a peninsula that is right below Russia and Ukraine. Like, it's actually right below Russia from what the map showed me, because Ukraine is right here and Russia's right here and Crimea is like right here. But traditionally, Crimea is a part of Ukraine. I think there might be like a little like peninsula thing that takes it and then it comes down, because it's not an island. It's attached to the mainland in some way. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little peninsula thing. And so Crimea, but they kind of have their own little government in Crimea because they're so far away from the central part of Ukraine. So during that time, Russia invaded Crimea and then like made them vote to be a part of Russia. And so everyone voted, all the powers that be voted to be a part of Russia. And later on, after the vote, the Crimean government was like, no, actually, we were under duress. Like, we were made to vote pro-Russia, so we don't want Russia here. So now there's like this fight, and the United States is on the side of the interim government in Ukraine. And I think there's because there's two big powerhouses, right? There's the European Union, the EU, and then there's the United States. So the European Union is all of the countries that use the euro on the mainland of Europe. That does not include London, who is London and Scotland and Wales and Ireland, which are their own. That's the United Kingdom. So, England. I keep saying London, but you know, London is in England. England is the country with the Queen, and then there's Scotland, and then there's Wales, and then there's Ireland, and that is the United Kingdom. So United Kingdom is all those like islands. They're basically islands, and they're off the mainland of Europe. And so Europe, any country that uses the euro is part of the European Union. And so I'm not sure, I have to do a little bit more research, but look it up if you really, really want to know. But yeah, the United States is basically on the side of the new Ukrainian government, and they're just like fighting. Like Putin, like he invaded Crimea and was like, this is our son. Like, and I mean, that's from what I'm getting from our standpoint. I don't know what the Russian rhetoric is, but that's basically what happened in Ukraine. Okay guys, so I had to stop the video here because it was going to be a very long video. So I think 10 minutes is a good place to stop it at, and I'm gonna post part 2 of this up tomorrow so that you can hear the rest of it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye!